You need to stop negotiating with yourself, seriously, because I think a lot of women are waiting to feel inspired enough to become the version of themselves they keep talking about, and meanwhile, their standards are sitting there collecting dust. I want you to run a strict program on yourself for a while, not because you hate yourself, because you finally respect yourself enough to stop making every decision based on how you feel that morning. There is something extremely attractive about a woman whose life has structure. You can feel when someone has decided, this is what I do now. There's no dramatic announcement, no 17-part reinvention. She just quietly stops being available for the things that keep pulling her backwards. And I think that's the energy you need right now. You need fewer negotiations and more defaults. Because psychologically, every little decision costs you something. What time am I getting up? Am I going to work out? Should I answer her? Should I spend this money? Maybe I'll start Monday. Maybe I deserve a break. Maybe I'm being too hard on myself. And look, flexibility is healthy. But if every part of your life is up for debate, your impulses are basically running the board meeting. So for the next stretch of your life, I want you to make certain things boringly predictable. You wake up at a certain time. You know what you're eating. You know when you work. You know when you train, study, create, clean, sleep. You know what you're not doing anymore. Not because you're trying to become some productivity robot with a color-coded planner and no personality. I actually want the opposite. I want you to have enough structure that your personality gets to come back. Because when your basic life is chaotic, your brain spends so much energy managing chaos that you have less attention for ambition, creativity, relationships, and actual enjoyment. This is why I love a strict season. A strict season is not your forever personality. It's a temporary container that makes your priorities easier to protect. And please understand the difference between discipline and punishment. Punishment says, I'm going to make myself suffer because I'm disappointed in who I've been. Discipline says, I know what makes my life better, so I'm not going to keep arguing with the evidence. That distinction changes everything. You're not locking in because you're disgusted with your current life. You're locking in because you're fascinated by what happens when you stop interrupting yourself. And here's where I want you to get a little ruthless. Stop giving equal weight to every desire you have. You can want something and still not do it. You can feel lazy and still keep your commitment. You can miss someone and still not text them. You can be bored and still not go shopping. Feelings are information, not instructions. That is emotional maturity. And honestly, some of you don't need another breakthrough. You need fewer loopholes. Your brain has learned that if you complain long enough, delay long enough, or get uncomfortable enough, you eventually give yourself an exemption. Cute. We're ending that arrangement. Pick the few things that would genuinely change your life if you did them consistently and make them non-negotiable for a defined period. Not 50 habits, not a fantasy morning routine, a handful of behaviors that actually move the needle. Then let everything else be optional. Because I want you to experience something very specific. Self-trust. Every time you keep a promise to yourself when nobody is watching, you collect evidence that you can rely on you. And that confidence hits differently. It isn't loud. It doesn't need to convince anybody. You just start walking around with this quiet little certainty that, oh, I handle things. That is the woman I want you to become. Not perfect, not rigid, not permanently optimized, just incredibly difficult to derail. So yes, be ruthless, but be ruthless with the habits, distractions, excuses, and environments that keep stealing the life you said you wanted. Be gentle with the woman doing the work. She's not the problem. She's the project. Love you no matter what.